Are you okay with the big screen, or do you want me to stay on a big screen?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I am
Okay.
not afraid of talking to people. I was a communications major. I love public
That's
speaking. So here we are.
amazing. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're
Thanks
on
for
the
having
big
me.
screen. Um,
Yes.
thank you, thank
Hello,
you, thank
everyone.
you.
Yeah.
So mic
Yeah.
check 1 2 1 2. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Oh, so this is only going to be for Blake, right? I will
Okay, hold
invite people
on.
up later. So if you all could just drop, that'd be great. Inshallah, if you could just drop. Hello. Someone says ni hao.
Oh, I say ni hao as well. Ni hao, yes. But the proper way is ni hao. But
Ni-
everyone just says ni hao. It's no problem, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're a family
Oh,
man,
no problem.
you're a professor. And so I think you may have heard my little blurb about what is it that I try to do on TikTok. I try to help
Uh,
Americans try to narrow things down and at least do the whole preliminary planning per se to help them
mhm.
find the country that best suits their needs. Now, again, I have
Of
my visa
course.
for China. I have my visa for Portugal. So when they asked me questions, because China, I had an agent, a trusted agent, do my visa.
Uh,
So
uh,
I've never been to China. I will be going this summer. So who best to do
mhm.
this than you who are living and breathing and eating in China? Right.
Thank you.
So I just started the live like 15, 17 minutes ago. So
Mhm.
more people will come in. So whenever you're ready, I can start asking you questions, or if you just want to introduce yourself,
Okay,
that'd be
well,
great.
I'll let you guide it. This is actually
Sure.
it's very interesting. This is my first time being invited to do a live. I got on TikTok about 3 months ago because YouTube and Instagram, for whatever reason, I don't get much views, but on TikTok, it's been much better. So I
Mhm.
appreciate you reaching out. But I'll start with introducing myself. My name is Blake. I was born and raised in Illinois, born in Chicago,
Ooh,
Chi-Town. Yeah.
Town.
For all you NFL fans out there, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. We didn't win. It's okay. I am 35. I have I've been married for over almost 3 years. Have a 16-month-old son, and I've been teaching abroad for almost 7 years. March will be 7 years. I started off in South Korea,
Okay.
and I taught kindergarten, elementary, middle school, and been in China for almost 2 years. Next month will be 2 years, and I've been teaching high school. And I mean, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how long I'll be here, but next year I'd like to pursue a teaching license, and so I could teach international school in the future.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm really excited about all the opportunities that China and just being abroad in general have given me and my family.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So what led you to specialize or to even move to China? What was the straw that
Well,
broke the camel's back, they want?
well, I have nothing bad to say about South Korea. I mean, South Korea gave me the opportunity to
Sure.
go abroad. However, in South Korea, you work very hard, very, very hard, but the pay is not worth it, right? So I was one of the many people who influenced by anti-China propaganda. In America, we get all
Mm,
this negative press about China. So about 3 years later, I decided it was time to look for a job somewhere else. But I wanted to go to the Middle East, but they didn't want me because I'm not a licensed teacher, right? So
mhm.
I saw that China had many openings, but because of my all the negative press, I said, I'm not going, I'm not going. But I actually have a friend who is in China, and I finally just asked him about it, and he said, You're being influenced, just come here. And then I got tired of not making much money.
Right.
And, I got married, right? I got married. So I decided to go to China, and that's what led me to China was initially just to make a higher salary. But
Mhm.
obviously, I had no idea it would be this much of a positive experience for me and my family. So I'm very grateful I decided to make that leap.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. So how would you describe China to someone with no prior knowledge?
Well, I would describe China as that it's like any other place. People ride bikes, they smoke cigarettes, they buy food,
Mm,
they have kids, kids go to school. It's no different than any other place I've been to. It's not like some horrible place. It's normal. People drive, people walk. It's no different than anywhere. I mean, there's a lot of electric cars here.
Mm,
So the air is a lot cleaner in terms of fuel. Obviously, people smoke and stuff, but it's very focused on technology. Very much focused on technology. A lot of electric cars here.
mm-hmm. So you're going to see some questions come through the chat. I don't know if you want to answer them as they come through, or you want to hold off
Uh,
until towards the end to answer them.
uh, well, I've never done this, but I could answer mostly Sheila's question. Do you have to speak Chinese? Whether you live in China or anywhere, you don't have to speak the local language because your job is going to be literally speaking in English to kids or however old your students are. Now, when it comes to daily life, of course, learning basics at least will make life a little easier, but you
Hmm.
don't have to know the language to legally work in the country. No, you don't.
Sure. Someone says the cost of living. You want to give the breakdown of cost of living in
Uh-huh.
China?
So obviously, big cities, right? Seoul, Tokyo, Riyadh, Shanghai, any big city like Beijing, Chongqing, of course, those places are going to be more expensive because they're more developed, tier one cities. But I live in a developing town called Nanxuan. It's tier three.
Hmm.
So obviously, tier one cities are going to be expensive. Maybe you'll get lucky to pay $1,000 a month in USD. But where I live, you can get a three-bedroom apartment, really nice for no more than $300 a month, and I'm not even joking.
Really?
So when you're in developing places or like countryside places, you're it's much cheaper, much cheaper.
Hmm. Wow. So
Mhm.
cost of living for rent. So just to get the viewers of some perspective here. So $1,000 tier one. So maybe 300 or 500 tier two, and lesser for
Mhm.
tier three. Is that a good
Yes, yes,
analogy?
yes. So when you get housing, when you teach English, I've been doing this for a while. Your school either give you housing or you get a housing stipend. You get your own. Most cases, especially if you have no experience, you should take the housing. In my contract, they offer a 1,000 yuan stipend. So what
Wow.
this means is that they're offering you 1,000 yuan, which is like 130, $140. So you pay the difference. So that's what I mean with how cheap it is here. That's like 130, $150.
Hmm.
That puts into perspective how cheap it is in certain areas. Very
Sure.
affordable.
Sure. And what would you say like the utilities could run? I know it varies based again on the different tier cities. So do you have an example what your city or different tier cities would have to pay for like utilities,
Uh-huh.
food,
Uh-huh.
entertainment, etc.?
Uh-huh. So I've been very spoiled. So my school graciously pays my utilities. But if I had to give an estimate, no more than like 300, 400 yuan a month, which is like between 40 to $60.
Mm-hmm.
My grocery bills, we never go over like $300 a month. So
Mm-hmm.
like I know I've seen several videos online of Americans like how groceries are out of control. Like you pay for a bucket of fruit for like $50. It's crazy, right? And groceries here are not a problem. We could get a whole cart full of food for like no more than like $60. And we usually pay no more than 350, which is around like 40, $45.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment. Now, obviously, if you're in Shanghai, or any big city, it's much more expensive. So perhaps like if you go to Shanghai, your average meal can be anywhere from like 30 to 40 to $50, right? But where I live, we eat out good, and
Mm-hmm.
usually like my wife, my son, it's like no more than like anywhere between 25 to $30, maybe less. So it's very you can eat just as much for much cheaper, which is why I think developing towns are worth considering, especially if you have already married. It's not like you're looking for a girlfriend or a boyfriend or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 of course. Someone says, how do you spell your city?
Okay, so the city is called Huzhou, Huzhou.
Mm-hmm.
But my town is like a suburb of Huzhou.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called Huzhou Nanshui. So it's like a little suburban developing town. So it's Nan, like Nancy, Nanx, like Xavier, UN, Nanshui.
Ashwin. Okay. Someone says, how can one get a job in China without a degree while living in the States? Please, so that they can move.
Well, unfortunately, When it comes to China, to legally teach English, you need a degree.
Okay. Like
Now, the whole
associate degree
reason
or bachelor's and above?
a bachelor's. So you
Gotcha.
need to be from the USA, Canada, Australia, Ireland, New Zealand, United Kingdom, or South Africa. And you need to have a degree in any field. It could be music, it can be science, it doesn't matter. You need to
Mm-hmm.
have a bachelor's degree. Obviously, no convictions, no serious convictions. And obviously, I have a guide. So obviously, I don't have 1,000 followers. I'm well on my way there.
Yes.
So I have to be very careful in how I make videos, right? I can't
Sure.
promote my products yet, but I do have a guide
Mm-hmm.
which gives people um, the documents they need, reputable websites, red flags to look out for when they're interviewing, when they're contacting recruiters, when they're signing contracts,
Oh, wow.
you know, apps that are good for daily life per country. So I have a guide for only the small price of $29, but I don't talk about it much. Once I get to 1,000, I'll be marketing my services more. But for now, I'm just trying to get followers
Sure,
and
sure.
point people to my stories should they choose to learn more by via private message.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that question.
Mhm.
Someone says, what's your info? If you go and link in his bio, guys, please follow Blake Abroad. He is amazing. I have been watching his content for a while, and you all know I'm a person of good character, and I know I judge good characters, guys, and he is
I
amazing.
appreciate that. I
So
appreciate
please
it.
follow him. With the 24 people that's on the live right now, I know there's more people. It was 40 people at one point when you were talking earlier, and it looks like they trickled down a little bit. But that's how it
Yep, I'm
goes
not
with
too
live.
boring.
It goes up and down. It does fluctuate, but that's more than enough, right? So far, we've had 812 people viewed into this chat right now in this live. Someone says
Mhm.
Blake Abroad. That is Blake Abroad. He's amazing, guys. And your guide is on the link in your bio, Blake.
So, unfortunately, with TikTok, you're not allowed to put your links to any third-party services if you don't have 1,000 followers. But people just send me private messages, and I just build the basic rapport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where are you from? Do you have a degree? Blah blah blah. And
Sure.
after enough messages have been exchanged, I usually ask for their email, and nine
Mm-hmm.
times out of ten they give it to me. And then I email them and just send them like a YouTube video based on what they want. So if they're interested in China, I would send them a video of a video I made on China. If they're interested in Korea, I do the same.
Sure.
If they don't have a degree, I send a video about that, and just to build some basic trust, and then I put the link in there.
Sure. So guys, so what I'll do, Blake, after this, what I'll do is go to your videos that you've posted thus far and repost them.
I
Okay,
appreciate that.
so the several thousands of people that follows me, they will go in through their FYP and they can watch and they'll push your content out a little bit more, okay?
Hmm. Cool.
So my next question for you are, what are the most common misconceptions about China?
So this was also my misconception. So a lot of people think so. I used to be very active on YouTube, and I'd post videos about China, and very often you get negative comments, people saying I am a paid CCP puppet, like I'm getting paid by Xi Jinping to promote China, which he doesn't know who I am, and I doubt he cares because this country is over 1 billion people. But the most common misconception is that this place is some dystopian hellhole. People have no rights, they have no basic freedoms, that everyone's miserable, everyone is in poverty, and that's not true. What I like about China and what really shocks me about China is that whether you're rich, whether you're poor or in the middle, everyone has quality access to good healthcare, affordable healthcare. Everyone can afford some kind of groceries. And obviously, not everyone lives in a super nice house, but everyone has the opportunity for housing. I mean, in my entire time here, I've only seen maybe like two or three homeless people. I'm not even joking.
Mm,
So, so of course, like no place is perfect. Obviously, there's some censorship, but in general, like people here are not miserable. People are very kind. Chinese people. I mean, I've been to many countries in my time abroad. I'm not exaggerating when I say that Chinese people are very kind people. So Americans tend to think of China as our enemy.
mm,
But if you tell someone, "Oh, where are you from?" You say you're from the U.S. I've got not one negative reaction. They don't view us as their enemies. And I know
mhm.
not everyone's in politics, but even people here like Trump, which I think is interesting because Trump is very harsh on China. So I guess people are very kind, and life is not as bad as people think. You just got to come here and take a look for yourself, like I
Sure.
did.
Hmm. And would you recommend that they come in for when they're doing the scouting trip to China? What's the time period that you recommend so that a person could be more familiar with the area to make an informed decision moving to that country?
You could obviously come as a tourist. Now, my father is actually visiting me right now.
Mm,
And if you are from the United States, you can visit China visa free for 10 days. So if you are from the United States, you can come here for 10 days without a visa. But should you choose to come here on a tourist visa, travel to Shanghai, travel to Beijing, and perhaps, if it's in your budget, travel to like a lesser known place so you can see that it's not as bad as you think. Now, whether that's through working here or just visiting, that's up to the person. I came here for the first time on my work visa. Same with two of my other friends who are here. It's completely up to the person. But whether you're just traveling or working, you will quickly see that it's not some hellhole as the Western media makes it out to be.
mm. So I've seen so for myth and facts, right? I've seen where a lot of posts about how Chinese people will approach people that look like me or us, right? I have locks, I have sister locks, I'm black, and they like to take
Uh-huh.
pictures and how they're very disrespectful. So, in terms of racism, have you encountered any racism in while living in China?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Unfortunately, racism exists anywhere in the world,
That's right.
China, Korea, Japan, anywhere. However, I do think it's obviously here in China, unfortunately, there is a lot of restrictions here. People don't have access to Facebook, Instagram, and all these things unless they have a VPN. So obviously, there's a little more uneducatedness. Like a decade ago, businesses were making fun of black people. But even now, that is kind of happening with businesses. I'm not saying the average person, but if you just ignore marketing um, in daily life, no one is racist towards me. Obviously, at my school, a lot of kids ask me if I play basketball, and it's not even being racist. They just genuinely think I'm good at basketball. I see it as a compliment because I got the broad shoulders, big chest. They think I play basketball, so I see it as a compliment.
Mm,
But I don't think it's ill intended. They just see you as strong. Like there are students who are very limited English and they see me and they say strong, 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 right? And I've had people. I mean, once in a while, people will ask you for a photo, whether you're black or white, especially if you're black. I've seen vloggers where they get photos, and it's not. I wouldn't take it as a sign of disrespect. I would take it as you're welcome here.
mm,
And um, in terms of racism, I've not seen it personally.
mhm.
There are racist hiring practices. So a
Ah,
lot of schools, unfortunately, will say in their posts, "We want white people," and it's not just black people, Hispanic people, Asian people. We want white people. But I am half black. I don't know if you can see that. My father is Puerto Rican. My mother is black. But I personally am having a good time here,
mhm.
and other black people are doing fine. There's racism anywhere in the world, but obviously, I'm not going to paint this country as if everyone's racist. It's not. It's like this anywhere in the world. You just gotta be yourself, and most people will not disrespect you for being black. No.
Of course, of course. And obviously, it's the person too, right? Because what were they doing to be disrespectful or to have that type of reaction? So yeah,
Oh, sorry. Sometimes people do take photos of you without your permission. It does happen,
oh,
but it's very rare. And I
okay.
wouldn't. It's like kids. It's like kids and some old people. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It rarely happens. Yes, I want to answer your question.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay, no problem. Thank you, Blake. So to your point, racism is everywhere. It's not just
Of
China,
course.
right? And
Mhm.
that's what I want
Everywhere.
everybody to understand, even in America.
Mhm.
So you touched a little on healthcare. Do you want to touch a little bit more about that and see to give everyone a
Uh-huh.
perspective in terms of what
Mhm.
the quality is like, and what the cost is like as well?
Someone said communist. I have to say to you, just come here. Just come here. Healthcare here is amazing. I'm very grateful. I remember being in America and I was afraid if I got injured or if I felt sick, I would not want to go to the hospital because I was too afraid of the bill, of the crazy bills. It's ridiculous. But here in China, I get my blood checked every like 6 months just to be sure everything's fine. and it doesn't break my bank. My wife gave birth here. Obviously, she got pregnant in Korea, but she gave birth in China and staying in the hospital for 6 days and having a C-section and
Oh, wow.
all the blood tests. My bill was like $1,000, and she stayed for
USD?
6 days. USD, yeah, like 6 days. Now, if she gave natural birth, it'll be even cheaper. But the point I'm making is you can go to the hospital, forget pregnancy. Let's say you just want to, your back hurts or you're feeling sick. You can just go to the doctor, get some pills or medicine, and you will pay no more than, like, on average, no more than $15. It's perfect. Maybe less than that.
And that's
Depends on what you're
without
going through.
insurance, right? Or is that with?
Without insurance. Without
Shut the front
insurance.
door. Without insurance.
Yes.
My copay was
So,
more when I had my
yeah.
son C-section. Wow.
Yeah. So it's
Wow.
really good, really, really good. Now, obviously, Korea is also good. A lot of, not that I'm getting political, but countries that are not capitalist tend to be more affordable. But China, I would definitely say, is way more affordable, and I take advantage of that. If I have back pain, or if I feel like I'm coughing, and it doesn't go away naturally, I just go to the doctor and it's fine.
Do you think that when you do go to the doctor that your concerns are being heard, and how is the communication with the language barrier? How was that?
Uh, So I do speak basic Chinese. I had a tutor for about 6 months, so I understand a lot of basic questions. Um, I know basic things like eyes, nose, hair, how to say those things, but it's not good enough for like a serious conversation. And,
Hmm.
my wife's also Russian, so I'm trying to learn that too. But to answer your question, we usually go. So in China, there are public hospitals which are run by the government, and there's private hospitals in tier one cities which are more English centered. More
Mm.
expensive though. I'm here to tell you, my wife gave birth at a public hospital, and you don't have to go to the private hospital. Now, obviously, if you have a serious problem, like really serious, of course I would go to the private. But I go to the public, and I use Google Translate. It's never a problem. Once in a while, very rarely, people will be frustrated with you. They don't understand you, and they'll get frustrated, and but that's very rare. 9.9 times out of 10, they're very helpful, they're very kind, and very understanding.
Sure, 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 sure. So, access to healthcare now for the visa process. To your knowledge, what you do need health insurance for your is one of the visa requirements, correct?
So you need a health check. So when I came to China,
Hmm.
within the first week, your school will arrange for you to get a medical check. They will check your body. They will check your they do like a radiation scan, and they check your blood to make sure you don't have any serious diseases like AIDS or tuberculosis or anything like that. But that usually happens once you're in the country, and when you secure a job, they do offer you health insurance, yes.
Mm.
So every job is different. So if you work at a school like I do, like a government run school or just a real school, you usually get health insurance. But if you're working at a lower tier training center, there's a high chance you probably won't get that.
Mm.
But it doesn't
Awesome.
matter because it's so cheap, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. All right, so we did touch on any suggestions for schools. So yeah, I was going to circle on that. So in terms of, I know there's international schools. I know there's public schools there. You want to touch a little bit on that?
hmm
Is there?
So, like I said, next year sometime I'll pursue getting a teaching license so I can work at a national school in the future. If you have an education degree and you have a legitimate teaching license, you can teach an international school. The pay is much more higher, and you have much more benefits like full summer paid vacations, all those nice benefits. If you have children, you can negotiate your kids going to school for free, which is part of the reason. That's also a reason my son and any kids I have in the future can get good quality English education. So if you have a teaching license, you could do that. But I do want to make it clear those are very competitive jobs. So I recommend if that's something you want to do, cast your net, China, South Korea, Middle East, cast your net because it is very competitive. Outside of
Mhm.
international schools, you could work at training centers, which is very common for beginners. It's like working at a place, um, like it's not a real school. It's like parents are paying the institution for their kids to get extra practice with English. So they'll go to normal school during the day, and then they will go to the training center. So that's a very common beginner friendly job. There's private schools and there's public schools. It's just it depends on what's available. Schools hire usually in the spring and fall. Kindergartens and training centers usually hire year round, and public
Mhm.
schools, it's the same as like a private school. Yes.
Okay, okay. So with TEFL, you've heard of TEFL certification. Is that a good thing to have or a bad thing to have?
I got lucky. I don't know what happened. I, when I went to South Korea, I got told I needed one. I did start one, but I didn't finish, so I didn't get it.
Hmm.
But this was 7 years ago, right? To be honest with you, I wish I would have gone to TEFL because my first couple years of teaching were not fun. I didn't have good classroom management skills. I was constantly crossing cultural boundaries, and having a TEFL will give you the foundation for teaching. Obviously, you have to build on that yourself, but it gives
Hmm.
you the basic foundations. I think for China, you need several places will require it because since I don't have one, when I applied for jobs here, I had to give references to prove that I've taught. And I'm not even
Hmm.
talking about, oh, Blake's such a good guy. No, I'm not that kind of reference. I had to show proof that I worked there with a stamp. You get
Wow.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
that being said, you need a TEFL. It'll probably help you a lot, and there are plenty of um, affordable options. You don't have to pay big bucks for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I also on my YouTube channel, when people message me on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
I give them also a link to my YouTube video where I talk about TEFL as well, and I
Hmm.
have links where I get commission, obviously, but there are a couple reputable ones as well.
You do. Okay. So TEFL, TEFEL or LE? TEFL,
Uh-huh.
TEFLE.
Teaching English as a foreign language is what it stands for. It's just a little certificate that shows you have basic knowledge of teaching, and a good TEFL will actually will give you some basic practice in teaching as well.
Mm.
You know. hmm
So yeah, so
I
TEFL. Yep,
yes,
you
TEFL.
got it. TEFL. Okay, perfect. And so, how familiar are you with the prices, public versus private education?
So I am very. When you say prices, are you talking about like salary?
Both for salary for teachers and then for students or for teachers that have
Mhm.
kids.
So in Korea and in China, it's very similar. So like with kindergartens, it's very expensive. So little children who are learning English, their parents are paying like anywhere from $1,000 a month to even maybe $2,000 a month. International schools, the salaries are very high, which means the parents are paying a lot of money. So I'd say like these are for international schools are catered to rich families. And I'm not talking about middle class, for rich people. So they're paying thousands of dollars per kid if they have multiple kids. So in China, I've been told that the parents can pay like 100,000 yuan a semester, which is like $10,000 to $12,000 per semester. So it's globally the same in any country for kids and students learning English. They pay a lot of money for international schools and for kindergartens. For like a training center, I'm assuming it's a little cheaper, like maybe two to $400. Depends on how many classes they're taking. But
Hmm.
kindergarten, international schools, and private schools are definitely pushing towards richer families, especially with the birth rate issues in Asia, right?
Hmm.
Of course, they're going to go for rich people, you know.
Wow. Wow. And earlier you said that there are some racism practices, right? That some of these schools practice where they tell you what race they're really looking for. Um,
So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Never done this
so,
before.
no, no, it's okay. No, no, no. This is a conversation. So would
Mhm.
you say it would be easy for someone like myself, right? I have a master's and two bachelors. Clearly, I don't teach. I don't have a license. So I do have like a software engineer. I mean, you said that with my degree or anyone with any degree, as long as it's a bachelor or higher, advanced degree, could teach. Have you seen people that look like me that teach English in various education systems?
So, and there are black people who teach English abroad. And it's not just black people having this issue, even other Asian people, like Korean Americans, Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans, Filipino people. A lot of people just want white people. You know, it's ridiculous. It's 2026. Yeah, I know what we're all thinking. It's 2026. Why are people thinking this way? The reason why people think this way is that in the English abroad world, is they have this parents have this weird obsession with how the teacher looks, how the teacher sounds. I also made a post the other day about South Africans, but there are black people who do teach abroad. I mean, I am one of the minorities. And if you're American as well, even if you're black, you have the perfect accent, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can get jobs. Now, people have it's not impossible, but have a harder time are like black South Africans, right? But if you're like from the United Kingdom, um, Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, usually it's not a problem. It may be harder, but it's not like you'll not get a job. Do
Sure.
you get what I'm saying? Most of the
Understood.
black people I've worked with, um, are a combination of Americans mostly and some South Africans, but it's mostly Americans, yes.
There's a statement by Grace123. She says, if you have any kind of drug issues, you do not teach in Asia because you'll get arrested. And she also continues to say that be very, very aware of who you are, what your values are, and how to cope with stress teaching abroad. And I have two masters. She has two master's degrees in education from top universities, Harvard, and etc. And she also says, be aware of coping with loneliness, so you can go out to bars, etc. So that was going to lead me to my next question in terms of entertainment fun. So what do we do? What can Americans looking to move abroad, what's available out there in terms of entertainment wise for
So
fun?
I do want to emphasize Grace's point on drugs. In Asia, they don't play around. If
Okay.
you do drugs, you're in jail, and you might get executed. I'm not joking, especially in places like Thailand. And
What?
even in, yeah,
Executed? That's not
you will die for drugs. They take it very serious. So do not hang out with people who do drugs. There was a woman in Thailand who had a boyfriend, and he took advantage of her. He ordered drugs, and because it was delivered to her house, she's in prison right now. So don't do drugs, please don't do it.
wow.
In terms of loneliness, of course it can be lonely, and it will be lonely. I'm being honest with you. The first couple months, 2 or 3 months, it's going to be a challenge. The reason why it was lonely for me in Korea is because I didn't speak Korean. I didn't know how to read the language, and I would constantly try to ask people for directions, and I got rejected. Not because they hate me, because they don't want to speak English. They feel embarrassed about that. So it was
Mm,
isolating. However, I'm a Christian just like you. So in Korea, I went to church and I met other Christian people and I met friends. So
mm-hmm.
my advice to anyone is if you want to meet people, find people who share the same interests and values you do. So if you're into Christianity, go to church. Even if you're not into Christianity, if you're a Muslim, find other Muslims. There's clubs. You could join a martial art, like a boxing club or taekwondo, or you could join like an art club, or there's plenty of language exchanges. I don't recommend going to bars
Okay.
because it's me personally, I just find it not fulfilling. Just drinking all the time and hanging like so. A lot of expats who teach English, their friends are with other teachers at
Mm,
their school, and whether you're an English teacher or not, when you hang out with coworkers, a lot of it's just gossiping. And who wants to just constantly gossip? It's negative, right? So
mm-hmm.
I recommend find clubs to join. If you enjoy hiking, you get what I'm saying. Find people who share the same interests you do. In tier one cities, there are plenty of Facebook groups where you can just ask questions. You can go on a Facebook group and say, "Hey, who likes hiking? Hey, who likes doing this?" And people will respond, and you'll be invited to things. It's not hard to make friends, and especially in big cities if you put in the effort.
Sure. Now, with the tensions between America and China, would you say that you feel targeted living there as an American in China?
No.
No?
So it's economic tension. It's not like we're having a war. It's like
Mm,
they're competing, you know. And China would be kind of weird. It'd be kind of weird to get rid of Americans because then a lot of schools would lose money. You know what I'm
hmm.
saying? Because people see Americans as the bread and butter when it comes to like business. But to answer your question, no, I do not feel unsafe. No one has targeted me. When the election happened, it was very weird. My one of my managers asked me who the police called. They want to know who you voted for, and they were just doing a survey, but it's not like they were targeting me. So being an American, like I said, it's the complete opposite. Chinese do not hate Americans. They do not have a problem with us. If you say you're from America, they're always like, "Oh, good, 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 America, good, good." Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. So how familiar are you with the visa process? And if so, what for someone that is single, no, just single, no cats, no dogs. What visa would best suit them? And then a family, a person like myself, right? I'm a single mom by
Uh-huh.
choice with a son. You know what?
Uh-huh.
I already know what visa I have. I'm not going to put that out there. But what would be the two visas or visas would you say? And is it cheap too? Because my visa process was not cheap. Not at
Okay,
all.
so I've done this two separate times for Korea and China, but since I'm in China, I'll talk about China. So it is whether you're going to China or anywhere, the documents processes are a little more pricey. You can pay no more. Usually, to get all your documents together, are usually around $600 to get your documents, which is also my guide. So you got to get your documents in order. And then once you get your documents in order, you can start reaching out to schools. I do not recommend reaching out to schools without documents because when the school hires you, they'll expect you to be there at a certain time. And
Mm,
so don't apply to schools without your documents, or at least the majority of them done. And so you get your documents like $600. And in my case, um, I went home to America. I took a break and I did it from Florida, where I'm from, and my wife was back in Russia, where she's from. And so I was in a hurry because she was like pregnant at the time, right? So
mm-hmm,
I decided, so I had to apply for my Z visa. All foreigners in China who work have a Z visa.
mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have the same, right?
Yeah, I do.
And I had to do that on my own, and it
Mm-hmm.
was stressful. So I just paid an agent like $600 to do it for me.
Yep.
And within a couple weeks, I had my passport. And so, is it expensive? Depending on what's expensive to you, but expect to pay, around $600 for documents, another $600 for an agent,
Mm-hmm.
and then nine times out of 10, your school is not going to pay for your ticket. You have to buy your own ticket. But if you complete your contract, that's refundable. So I paid around $900 for my one-way ticket, and I got it back. So it's not
Okay.
a big deal. Just finish your contract. And so and then I recommend if you're single, bring like $500. You don't need to go out. You don't need to travel. You do that later. Just bring $500 for groceries and basic necessities like bedding and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have a family, so this I'm a perfect example, per person to ask. Since I have a legal work visa, my wife and my son and any other kids I have are on dependent visas. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say I choose to leave China, they also have to leave. Their visa is tied to mine. So if you have dependents like yourself or anyone watching,
Mm-hmm.
you um, get your visa, and then your kids or anyone else, like it's spouses, children, parents, and siblings, I think, who are eligible for this visa, they can get a visa too.
Mm. Yep, yep.
Mhm.
And for my son, I had to apply for him. But so would you say so my timeline was at least 3.5 weeks to get it, only because I needed a little bit more documentation about how my son was conceived. But for you, would you say the average processing time for a visa, for the ZZ visa, would you say that's 2 weeks? I think you mentioned 2 weeks, right? It took about two
You're
weeks.
talking about getting your visa. Well, if you pay an agent, it's about 2 weeks.
Yes.
Uh, I didn't want to know how long it would take without one. I was very time sensitive. My school was very gracious and being patient with me, so I just felt like it was best to get an agent. But if you choose not to go the agent route, it might take several weeks, maybe a month. And
Mm-hmm.
if you make one mistake, even just a small one, it'll get rejected. So I highly recommend getting an agent because Chinese immigration is much stricter than other places like Korea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we have a good question here because you and I have a 3.5-year-old. I know you have a kid that's younger. What are the pediatricians trying to get a pediatrician, trying to get vaccines, etc. Is that something, there's a lot of, the number of vaccine has been reduced in America given who's in administration now. So walk me through as to what would be needed for me to register my kid there or anyone
So
in the chat.
maybe I'm in dangerous territory, but if my kid was in the United States, I would not want to get vaccines because, we all know how America is. They don't care about health, it's all about profit. But China, I was also kind of hesitant about getting vaccines for my son. But after talking with some people who have children here, and my experience here with my wife giving birth, my son, obviously there's like one or two he doesn't have, but he has most of the vaccines. And I'm
Hmm.
talking about vaccines that have been around for hundreds of years. Polio,
MMR.
dermatitis, I'm sorry, tuberculosis, stuff like that. But he has many vaccines and he had no negative reactions. I was told by a Chinese lady who's married to a foreigner that your kid will not be allowed to go to school here if he or she is not vaccinated. So it's like a certain amount. So he'll be excluded from society. Now I don't know how long I'll be here, how much longer I'll be here, but definitely I do not want my son being excluded from society, which is why I chose. Okay, he'll get his vaccines. But in China, vaccines are safe. Yes.
Sure. Um, So I wanted to, I don't know if you know anything about business, because I know China is known for the business industry, just anything
Uh-huh.
business. Would you recommend a person who just have something really small, maybe $5,000, who wants to move? And what if they don't qualify for the regular tourists or work permits or visas? Would you say the business would be a different way of a pathway for them to move to China?
So in China, there are several factories, and as we know, all our clothes, almost everything's made in China. So my wife and I, there's a city called Guangzhou. There are, I'm assuming some of your viewers know about Guangzhou. We took a trip there. The main purpose was to check the factories out. Because my
Mm,
wife, she's very motivated, very driven, and she's in the future considering doing business here.
sure.
And if you have like a product you want to make, you can easily go to any of these cities and do business with them, and they can ship it to wherever you're from. So several people, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, several people come to China to do business with factories. They
Mm,
have products and they're sold here or they're sold abroad. That is an opportunity for any person, whether you are a businessman or woman or not. You can do that. In terms of other places, I'm assuming you have to speak the language fluently, especially if you're living here. Yes.
sure. I know you don't want to probably circle back to this question, but they list quite a few of them been asking about. You spoke on racism. Has your wife expressed any experience of possibly misogyny? If you
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable talking about it, that's fine.
No, I'm an open book. So my wife is Asian. So she isn't black. She's not white. People think she's Chinese. And in Korea, it was the same. They think she's Korean. So they speak to her in Korean in Korea, and they speak to her in Chinese in China. They're always shocked to find out she's not from China. And in fact, when she's walking with me in public, she says um, men give her a dirty look because they're thinking to themselves, why are you dating this foreigner? You're betraying our kind. In
Mhm.
terms of misogyny, I don't think she's experienced any of that. But she might get some dirty looks sometimes because she's holding hands with someone because they think she's Chinese.
Mm, okay.
Mm.
Do you have any questions, chat? Put it in the chat. I think I touched on most of the things. Um,
I'll scroll a little bit. Let me see if anyone's asked any questions that I didn't
so
get to.
what key safety
Mm.
considerations should travelers be aware of? Is my next question.
Okay, that's a perfect question. And then I'll answer someone else's statement. So obviously, happens in any country. So I'm actually going home in less than a week and a half. I'll be home for a couple weeks in Miami area, and obviously, I have to have common sense. I can't go out at night. I can't walk around just staring at my phone. I can't have my headphones in. You got to watch your back. But in Asia, especially in China, Korea, Japan, these three countries, it's very safe. You don't have to worry about pickpocketing. You don't have to worry if you're a woman. You don't have to worry about getting kidnapped or something terrible happening to you. You get what I'm alluding
Yep.
to.
Mm-hmm,
Very
mm-hmm.
safe. There's CCTV cameras everywhere, and I would say between Korea and Japan, China's the safest because China is so strict. If you commit a
Mm,
crime here, you'll get in huge trouble, like really big trouble. Korea is also safe, but I remember couple of years ago, they had some problems with some random crazy people just stabbing people in public. It was weird. But
mm-hmm.
in general, compared to our country, much safer. So you don't have to worry about it, especially if you're a woman. I remember when I was in Korea, that my very first day there, I was shocked seeing women walking alone at night. It's very safe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Someone else asked a question on, someone said, Make sure your kid knows the language. I agree with that. So obviously, my son is only 16 months old right now. Um, if we're still in China when he's like 5, 6 years old, of course he needs to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know the future. Wherever I want to stay abroad, I don't want to go back to America unless I'm just visiting.
Sure.
Because I just don't like it. It's expensive. It's all the political drama, just
Mm-hmm.
the crime, But yeah, wherever you live, I recommend anyone knowing the basics, at least the basics. And of course, your kid, I recommend get a teaching license so your kid can have a better life. Go to English school, of course.
English schools. Okay. So someone is asking, she's torn between, I'm not gonna even attempt. I know Shanghai, but there's another one, Guangzhou.
Guangzhou, yes.
Guangzhou. Okay. Which one would
Mhm.
you recommend?
I think Guangzhou. So Shanghai, first of all, it's going to be much more competitive. So everyone, it's like Seoul, it's like Tokyo, it's like any big city. Everyone wants to go to the big city. So of course, Shanghai will have more competition with jobs. Shanghai is going to be more expensive. And so
Mm-hmm.
if it depends on what your goals are. If you don't care, if your goal is to save money and you just want to have fun, okay, go to Shanghai. I went to Guangzhou and I enjoyed it. It's in the southern part of China. Every time I go to Shanghai, because I can get there 40 minutes by train, I go there several times a month for a few hours just to eat some good food. But my wife, she grew up in a small town, and every time she goes there, she feels so exhausted. Same here. And my father, who's here right now, he was exhausted. So if you're in Shanghai, it's not like you could walk in peace. There's people everywhere. People are pushing and shoving.
Mm-hmm.
May I say something?
No, no, no. My dad's trying to speak, but I said no. But anyway,
You can
it's very just any big city. It's going to be stressful. Yes,
Sure.
especially if you didn't grow up in a big city, it'll be shocking to you.
Mm. So someone is asking about the food quality. You want to
So,
touch on that?
of course, my dad is saying, "Oh, it's processed." Okay, there's processed food in every country. Okay, but it's not as bad as America.
Mm.
Okay, so we don't eat McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, maybe once in a while. But obviously, we shop at the grocery stores and stuff, and we are very careful about what we eat. And I would say our refrigerator is not junk. It's
Mm-hmm.
mostly not that bad. And in China, like when I was home a couple of years ago, I was shocked at all. Not that I'm being mean, okay, but there's a lot of
That's
fat
fine.
people in America. Not there's a lot of fat people because of all the horrible ultra processed foods, right?
Sure.
But here, there's not many fat people. So I guess food quality is better.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect, but it's better.
Great.
Yes.
So the chemicals or the additives, the preservatives are not as high in China than it is in America. Is that what am I
Nowhere near
getting?
close. No, not to that level. No, it's better. Yes.
Understood. And would you say, the food tastes better there? Do you feel like your health, if you had any chronic issues, have you seen that it gotten better because you're eating healthier or have healthier options? Like, what is like the farmers market? I'm sure China has a lot of farmers market accessible, maybe like in the tier twos, tier three type of cities.
Mhm.
You want to touch a little bit on that?
Yeah. So if you go to like a farmer's market, they'll have like a lot of like fish, a
Mm,
lot of like pork, beef, but you don't know how long it's been out there. Maybe it's been out there
mm,
for hours and hours and hours, and you might get sick. It's the same in Korea, like a lot of seafood stuff. So of course there are farmers markets, but if I know the food is fresh, I don't mind it. But obviously, I don't have an oven, you
mm,
know, so it's just easier for me to buy meat from the supermarket. But um, my wife is very smart. My wife grew up in the Arctic, and where the food is fresh, the fresh rivers where the fish are caught. So my wife and I make sure that we do not eat bad food. It's fine to answer the question whether you do a farmer's market or at the store. It's better than America. But if you're going to go to the farmer's market, obviously make sure that it's good quality food because you don't want to get food poisoning and get throwing up and have diarrhea for a week. That's not fun, right?
not fun at all. Not fun at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
So what does a day-to-day life look like for residents in major cities versus smaller cities?
Okay, so In bigger cities, it's people are a lot of buses, a lot of subways, people trying to get to work, very crowded. So like if you're in Shanghai, a lot of traffic, a lot of honking. But where I live, it's very peaceful. So you can walk the street and not have to push and shove someone. You're not going to get pushed and shoved. Very a lot more relaxed. I can go for a walk with my family and I don't have to rush. It's very peaceful. But in terms of let's just be honest, most foreigners want to go to big cities. So I'll touch more on that. It's just more busy,
Mm.
more crowded. Now, some people can handle that, some people can't, but it's usually people are just walking in a rush and people staring at their phones. And even if they bump into you, they'll keep walking. But in terms of it's not chaotic, you're not going to have constant ICE protests. You're not going to have all these riots. It's not going to be like that. No, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
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 Okay. With respect to work-life balance, I have seen countless, like a lot of videos surrounding, kids going to school from early in the morning and coming home late at night. And so that means teachers have been around. And also, China also provides or allow their staff or workers to sleep or what, 20 or 30-minute nap during a day. But then I find that the practices there are harsh, as you mentioned, but I've also watched videos where people say they work at least 16-hour days. So do you find that China doesn't have a work-life balance
I think
from an American perspective?
it ultimately depends on your employer. So if you
Okay.
work at a training center or like a hog one, like any kind of institute where it's not like a real school. So you work at an after school program, like a training center. Of course, your work life balance won't be good. So a lot of training centers, they work weekends and your days off during the week will not be back to back. It may be like on Tuesday and then a Friday, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect a good work life balance if you work at a training center. If you work at a school like I do, I work Monday through Friday. I have weekends off. I'm actually off until March 9th.
Oh, wow. Is there like a holiday?
So in China, there's the Chinese New Year. It's a very special, very sacred time. A lot of businesses close during this time. And I was in the supermarket yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a ghost town because everyone's traveling. And so the nice thing about China is that obviously every boss is different. Every school is different. We get a lot of holidays in China. I'm not exaggerating when I say in 1 year in China, I got more time off than I did in 3 years Korea combined in Korea. And
Wow.
so in Korea and in Japan, work-life balance isn't that good. You'll be working a lot. Very often I took my work home.
Mm-hmm.
But in China, obviously, I'm going to stress again, it depends on your employer, but I almost never, very rarely take my work home. Extremely rare, maybe like once a year, maybe during the finals, right? And there's a lot of holidays. You get so many holidays off in China. So if you start off at a training center in China, do your best to get a school job because you'll have much more benefits with time off. So I am grateful to have a lot of time to travel, to be with my family, and I very rarely take my work home. Yes, very rarely. Yes.
Question in the chat says, do they have extreme weather conditions like here, like snow and hot summers, extreme snow and or hot summers?
So China is a giant country. So
It's huge.
different parts have different kinds of weather. So if you're like where I am, in Fahrenheit, it's like 35 degrees. So it's cold, but not freezing, right?
Mm.
If you're in the northern part of China, like Beijing and Harbin and those places, you'll have snow and it can get like in the single digits, maybe below zero. The summers, and not just in China, but during my time in Asia period, I hate it because it's so humid.
Mm.
So I'm from Florida, but the it's dry heat.
Mm-hmm.
But and I actually spent a summer in Texas. Have you heard of Big Spring?
I'm in Texas. I'm in Frisco, Texas. So I've only lived here for a little over a year in Texas, so I'm not too
Oh,
familiar with the
okay.
towns. Just a year. I'm a
Well, this
Floridian
was
though.
like
I'm a native.
yeah, this was like 12 years ago, but the heat was dry.
Mm.
But in Asia, South Korea, China, Japan, doesn't matter. It's extremely humid in the summer. So it's I sweat horribly, and it's not fair because the Asian people, I don't see them sweating. It's not fair. They got those genes. But yeah, it's very often in the summer have to change clothes at least once a day. And but in terms of winter, it depends on where you live.
Mm,
Ultimately, it depends on where you live. Now, if you're in the northern part of China, so I went to Russia this past summer to visit my wife's hometown, and we had a layover in Harbin, which is the northern part,
mm.
and it wasn't humid. So it ultimately depends on your location. If you're in the northern part, expect to be very cold in the winter and expect nice summers. But in other places, it might be very humid. It depends where you live.
Sure. Sure. All right,
Mhm.
guys, for the 30 people in the chat, please put your questions in and we're going to wrap it up. We're so grateful that Blake Abroad has graced us with his presence and his knowledge.
Yes.
Just please put your last minute, Lisa, welcome in. Gary, welcome in. Please put your last questions in so he could go ahead and.
Let's see if there's any questions. I will check. Let me see if there's anything. Someone talked about currency, of course. I mean, that's something you do on your own time.
Mhm.
Okay. We talked about the doctors. Someone said they brought $5,000. I mean, I don't know if Grace, you have a family or if you have a lot of children, but if you're just by yourself, once you're in China, $600, $500 is more than enough to hold you down until you get paid. You want to pay someone, it depends on your timetable. If you have a job offer and they're gonna want you to get there, I recommend paying an agent. Let's see. People want info on getting how to get there. That's where my send me a private message. Um, how to know the language wherever you live. You should know the basics, the very basics. Um, um, I think I've answered most of the questions.
Yep. It looks like, is
Someone
it
said,
easy
do
to
not
find
go.
housing?
Easy to find housing. I highly recommend live in the country for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years at first. You'll know basics of the language and you can probably find housing on your own. But if you are a first time teacher, I highly recommend just take the housing. Just take it because it'll be very stressful trying to find it on your own. Someone said, do not go out late at night. Beware of Uber drivers, know your hotels, the Marriott, all the American. Well, that's anywhere. Wherever
Mhm.
you stay, look at the reviews. Personally, of course, some taxi drivers are going to be shady and take the long way. But if you just call them from your phone, that won't happen. But obviously, do not take taxis from the airport. Do not take taxis from train stations. They will rip you off. Trust me, it's happened to me. But if you just call them on DD, it's called DD. That will never happen.
Mm.
Taxis.
What would you rate China 1 through 10 and why?
In what way? Just quality of life?
I guess in overall, in general, where would
I give it an 8.
an 8?
I'm not going to pretend like the place is perfect. That's why I give it an
No
8.
such thing. Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say it's an 8 is because, first of all, my wife loves it here. I mean, my son is being treated very well. I'm not here to brag, but people think he's so cute, right? And everywhere he goes, everywhere he goes, almost everywhere he goes, he gets treated very well.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm not going to let anyone try to take him or anything, but people treat him very well, and my wife loves it here. So it makes a big difference when your family is having a good time.
Sure.
And in terms of me personally, I'm very grateful for the quality of life has improved a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm working full time. I'm taking care of my family. I can travel. I can save. I mean, I brought my dad here. I'm not even praising myself. I'm just grateful for the opportunity this country's given me.
Sure.
Obviously, it's not perfect. I mean, people are always smoking. Sometimes people go to the bathroom outside.
Wait, time
People
out,
can.
time out, back out. Time out.
Yeah,
So, are there
yeah.
urinals where they go and pee or use the bathroom, or are they just going to the bushes and doing it? And isn't that like prohibited, given the level of
Um,
security that they've implemented? And
mm, so they don't care. So old people, especially
wait a minute.
construction workers, you will see
Okay.
them several times a week. You'll see people taking a number one, just in the bushes. You're not going to see their, you know what. In terms of kids, once in a while, maybe once every other month, you'll see a kid as old as 6 peeing on the sidewalk. And once in a while, you'll see someone taking a number 2 with the door open. I'm not joking. Thankfully, no poop came out yet, but I just got out of there. The reason this is the case is because, like I said, maybe I need to emphasize this: China is developing when it comes to technology, but when it comes to mindset, a lot of people still have the village mindset. So obviously, in Shanghai, Beijing, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
But in developing places, if it does happen in Shanghai, I guarantee you, it's an old man or woman who
It's
grew up in the
traveling.
village. Grew up in the village.
Okay.
But in a developing area, people are still having a slower time getting acclimated to the world. And when you go to hospitals, people can cut in front of you, and it's not like they're being rude intentionally. It's just people are still learning. Well, most of the population hasn't traveled outside of Hong Kong and Taiwan, so a lot of work needs to be done. But overall, it's a solid experience, and I'm very grateful to be here.
Awesome. So I guess, how do you spell that? Someone is asking how to spell. So if someone says, this will be the last question. What other countries are you considering in the future, given your previous experiences?
Uh, so unfortunately, China has a low birth rate, and so I'd say in like maybe a decade, maybe less, the birth rate will be like Korea. It'll be crisis level. And I don't want to be in a place where it's not stable for the job market because if there's not kids being born, enough of them, then it's not stable, right?
Sure. Hmm.
So my plan is in the fall, most likely the fall, I'll pursue a teaching license. This takes a couple years to achieve. And then I think I'll just cast my net. So Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, perhaps New Zealand, parts of Europe. I will just cast my net and see where the good Lord leads me.
Awesome.
And I know He'll provide, He always does. But unfortunately, because of the birth rate, I mean, I'll be here, but after my teaching license, I think I'll look elsewhere. But to answer the question, I'll cast my net, and the good Lord will provide a place for me.
Amen. So, given that you've spoken a lot about faith is obviously the center of your life, right? Of your family.
Uh-huh.
And given that
Thank
China
you.
has, because my son is half Chinese. So,
Mhm.
and in China, they worship or deities and things of that nature. Do you have access to like different religions? Like, is there Christianity there? Things like that. Yes, you can
So there
record.
are many Christians in China, but these people, it's very hard to meet them because so when I was back home a couple of years ago, I went to the old church I used to go to, and I told a lady I was going to China, and she said she knows a woman who is a Christian in Shanghai. She tried getting me in touch with her, but she never responded. She warned me she might not respond because they have to be careful who they invite to the church. A foreigner can get them in trouble because many
Mm,
people meet like obviously there's churches you see on the street, but these churches are like monitored heavily, right? So a church where it's completely free, uh, they meet secretly, like in underground or
oh,
in
wow.
someone's house, and it's not legal. So people who worship Jesus here have to be careful. But obviously, I'm allowed to go to church online at my house. I can read my Bible. I brought my Bible to China. It's no problem. You just unfortunately are not allowed to um, preach to local people. Um, that being said, can you still see me? Did my
Yes,
video
I can
die?
see you. No, I can see
Okay.
you.
That being said, occasionally I have spoken to other foreigners about Christ. They don't care about foreigners, to be honest with you. Just
Mm,
don't do it with the Chinese. In terms of other religions, I mean, there are temples for Buddhists. There are, um, if you go in the northern part of China, it's Xinjiang province, there are mosques for Muslims.
mm.
China doesn't care what religion you are. They just don't want you preaching in the streets. It's not like America where someone's on the street saying Jesus is Lord, right? Can't do that, unfortunately. But you can worship. You just got to do it privately. But a lot of the Buddhist temples you see and stuff, I think, my opinion is just for like tourism. It's just for aesthetics, right? But
Mm.
obviously, there are actual people at the temple who are praying. But again, you got to be private about it. They don't want you doing it like evangelizing, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Understood. CW had a question. I don't want to keep Blake for any more than he is
Yeah,
stating.
no, you're good. Yeah, my question, I don't know if it got filtered in the comments. Yeah, I did hear about like the street preaching and evangelism being illegal in China. Um,
Mhm.
so what are a few things that you were told about China that you realized weren't true or real when you got there? I have some friends who are Americans who live in China too, and I always ask them that.
Okay. I appreciate your question. Thank you for joining, by the way. I would say, so you're asking what things were we told that are not true, right?
Yeah, what were some things that people were telling you or things you heard on the media or whatever? Because there are a lot of misconceptions about China, good and bad. Um, so I guess what are some of the bad misconceptions that you realize weren't
So
true?
I guess a lot of the things that are not true is that it's extreme poverty. Now, of course, not everyone is rich. There are poor people in China. I'm not going to pretend there's no poor people, but there's not like a lot of homeless people. I've seen maybe two or three in my entire time here. So that's a big misconception. One American podcaster, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Candace Owens, but
Yes.
she said, when I went to China, I saw so much poverty. I just wanted to cry. I was just rolling my eyes. She's just pushing the propaganda. Another thing is that people have no rights here. As I just talked about, you can worship, you just can't evangelize. You have rights. Obviously, you can't smoke weed, you can't do those things, but
Yeah,
just having a normal life here, you can do that. People think, oh, I'm using YouTube, I'm using Instagram, I'll go to jail. They don't care. Just don't share it with local people. Do what you want, as long as you don't speak out against the government or talk about the Chinese, Hong Kong, Taiwan. As long as you keep your mouth shut about those things, they don't care what you do as a foreigner. People here are having a good life, and it's not a bad place. You know,
yeah, I've heard that too. I have a friend who lives in Guangzhou. Uh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
Guangzhou,
yeah,
yes,
she's been there. Guangzhou.
yes.
Yeah, she's been there a while. She does sourcing. She's a sourcing agent. She's been there for I think like a decade. And she was telling me about that too. Like China picks and chooses what they want to enforce because they have so many people. They can't just be on your throat about everything because certain things just isn't worth their time to investigate or
Of
criminalize. Like they
course.
just have better stuff to do. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, she told me it's super convenient there though. Like there's drones.
Very.
You can basically just everything's walkable. Um, so yeah, do you see yourself being there like long term? I know like citizenship's not really a thing, but like
No,
just living there long
no.
term.
So I think, as I said, because of the birth rate being unstable, I think once I get my teaching license, I'll look elsewhere. Not because I don't like it here, it's just job stability, right? Because the birth rate's not good. But if I had the opportunity to be here long term, I would. Because my wife, she's been traveling to China since she was a child, and she loves it here, and her family loves it here. They visit us sometimes, and overall, they if my family's happy, I'm happy too. But if I had the opportunity to stay long term, I would do it. Yes,
Well, I'm not
Oh,
going to
okay.
take too
Yeah.
much time of Blake's time. This was supposed to be a little small talk, but CW, I appreciate your and everyone else, the 30 people in the chat. Thank you so much for all your questions. You know, as he mentioned, you could inquire, send him a message. He's pretty responsive. He was very responsive to me, but also know the time difference, right? I don't know what the time
it's
is there,
3:10
but
a.m. and I
okay.
am full of energy. Yes.
Full of energy. Guys, so, CW and Inshallah, thank you so much for coming up. But Blake, I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for just being here and
I
answering a
appreciate
lot of
it.
questions because, I went through an agent that did my whole visa process. So I've never been to China. I will be going this summer, as I mentioned. But I wanted someone who's been living in there and teaching and doing all these things to talk and give that wealth of information to the audience. And if you have an ebook that you could share with me, I'm willing. I'm going to buy your ebook because I'm looking into investing in China. So yes, thank you, Blake. Yes, thank you so much, guys, for throwing it in the chat. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your expertise. One final
No
time,
problem.
could you tell everyone where they could find your ebook? I know you said it's not on there yet. You could email it to them. Do you
Mhm.
do consultations? What is it that you do? Do you have a
So I
business here?
offer. So if you look at my videos on TikTok, I very often say personal roadmap, which is a consultation. So
Mm,
if you're interested in China, Korea, it doesn't matter where you want to go. I could just talk to you for an hour and just listen to you, and I can give you a roadmap on how you can achieve the goal. I offer the guide, the ultimate guide. I offer like a kindergarten guide. Very often, people teach kindergarten as their first job, so I give the inside scoop on what to expect teaching kindergarten. It's not as easy as it sounds.
mhm.
And I have a resume template. So if you want to have a professional looking resume, I've done the work's been done for you, and you just add and delete what you want. So I offer those things as of now, and eventually I will have something on China because a lot of people are interested in China. But the in terms of the link, because I don't have 1,000 followers yet. I don't have the link yet, but I have my email, my work email in my bio, and you can send me an email if you wish.
Awesome. People are saying that they're grateful. They would love to pay someone to do their visa. They definitely are interested in that, what you're saying. So
Mhm.
guys, if you have not followed Blake abroad, please follow him. Please, please do. I'm already following him. You know, he's amazing, as you could tell. He has a great disposition. He's a wealth of knowledge. So please show him some love. How do you find a visa agent? That's a good question for Blake, but you could definitely send him a message. Do you have a list of those trusted agents?
I could give the business to someone. The business I used, yes,
Sure,
yes.
sure, sure, sure. Can I pin him? So let's see. He's up here. I can't pin him. Blake, you want to put something in the chat for me? Put a comment
Uh,
on in the chat.
oh, what would you like me to do?
Just put a comment saying hi so I could just pin you so that people could
Oh,
easily follow you.
okay, no
There
problem.
you go. Hi. And I'm going to pin your comment. So here's Mr. Blake right up here. Do I have you pulled up? Let me pull you up on my other account so that way they
Mhm.
can see you. So guys, if you see, Blake is pinned right here. So if you just click on his name, you could just hit follow.
And I
Like
have
I
the same
said.
exact name on Instagram and on YouTube. So Blake
Okay.
Abroad, it's the same on both. So, and if you're ever in China, and if you're in the area, we could meet up if you want to. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. There were a couple of people that came in here saying that, hey, oh, thank you so much for the daily. That said that they lived in China or are living in China. So they were saying everything you said was true. So Blake says, so Blake, Chinese is taught in Panama. Last that I heard, it was required language. Possible work? Is Z's question.
You don't have to know Chinese to legally work in China. Of course, it's helpful to know basics at least. I had a tutor for 5 or 6 months, and it's very easy to find someone on social media. You go on Facebook and a group for foreigners, and there will be someone who will teach you Chinese in that group. And
Mm,
if you live in a tier one city, there are a lot of group classes for free, I think. But in my case, in Korea and in China, personally, I just like paying people because then I'm more motivated to study. But everyone's
mhm.
different. But yes, you don't have to know Chinese to live here, but obviously, day to day life makes life a little easier to know at least a little bit, right?
Awesome, of course. Well, Blake Brad, I won't keep you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Someone says, don't forget to connect with me, of course. Thank you so much, Blake. You're more than welcome to drop off. I'm going to be on the big screen now. We're going to swap.
Okay. Thank you, and I will see you again. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you. And I will go ahead and repost your videos. Okay.
I will send you an email when I wake up, and I'll send you the link to my stand store.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Enjoy. Thank you. God
Bye.
bless you.
You as well. Aw. Guys, give it up for Blake. Wasn't he amazing, guys? I'm more knowledgeable now than I have ever been. And granted, I can you all see me? Can you all see me? I can't see myself. Oh no, I think I lost everyone. Can you all see me? Okay, doesn't matter. Another one. Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Guys, that was amazing. And just to have, no, I'm on. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Everyone sees me. So yes, this was amazing, guys. For those who don't know, I do have my Chinese visa. And my son is also half Chinese. And so this was information, and I've never been to China. I do plan on going to China this summer with my good friend and my son and my other sisters, so I'm excited to see in what he's witnessed. Obviously Blake is half black, and I look like this, so it's very important for me to know how are we treated, right? And this is why I like to target people, not target, but ask people who live in those in respective countries what their experiences are, right? I can't ask someone who doesn't look like me, right? Hey, what's your experiences like? As Blake mentioned today, there are some, racist, practices in the workplace where they do advertise that they only want whites. They don't want Hispanics. They don't want blacks, but that doesn't mean they don't hire them, right? So these are things that I heard about, but I needed to hear and see for myself, right? So it all depends, but this is good information. He wasn't bad mouthing China, but he was giving us facts, right? Based on experience, based on his friends' experience, based on personal experience. So I think this was a lot of information to dissect to see, is this a place? Because you can't gain dual citizenship. If your goal is to ultimately have dual citizenship, China is not your country, honey. Because even though my son's father is Chinese, my son is not entitled to have dual citizenship, even if he could prove it via ancestry, right? So why waste the time going there and trying to obtain dual citizenship if it's not something that I can attain? So to visit is good. To visit is good, to say the least. So other countries, somewhere in Europe that does offer dual citizenship would be other countries if you are looking for dual citizenship, if that's the goal. Yes, he was good. He had a very calm demeanor. His answers were clear, concise, which I do appreciate. Um, you know, we love us some Jake that came on. Hi, Samantha. Well, he was very raw with it, and I love raw because people want that. People want that authenticity, and that's who he is. Blake is authentic in his way. Jake is Blake, and Jake is authentic in his way. Jenna, all these other people who came on to talk about their respective countries are authentic in their own way. But guys, this was really, really good. I had a good time today. So come Thursday, we're going to have, her name is Nicole. Nicole did come up last week. She's going to talk all things Spain. Now, for those who know what country I'm going to, it borders Spain. And I'm excited to hear what she has to say. She's living in Spain at this time. She has her own business. Um, can't wait to get New Zealand. Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say about Spain. I'm going to start the whole advertisement today. I will put it out there. But guys, if you're not following Blake, please follow him now. I thought I was following him. Oh God, I told a white lie. I was like, how is it that I could communicate and I'm not following this man? But I am following him now. And please follow him. So her name is Nicole. She's going to talk all things, yes, on my bucket list. Perfect. If you guys are interested in Spain or know anyone, it's going to be this Thursday at 11 Central, which is 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe if there's like a different time throughout the day, I'm also working, right? I'm a working single mom. So my lunchtime is what I use to have these discussions. So I'm not really to getting a break here. And I want to help everyone. Will you have anyone from Portugal? You can ask me. I've done the whole Portugal process on my own, and I got it approved, digital nomad visa. I've actually went on a scouting trip for Portugal and had a really good experience. I've had discrimination, 2 instances of discrimination. I visited schools, don't know much about the healthcare, but I could find someone that is living, breathing. Oh, my brother, he lives in Portugal, duh. He's an American living there for 2 years. Let me see if he's down to, coming on chatting all about things about Portugal. He knows the school system, he knows the healthcare, he knows everything. I fortunately don't need healthcare when I was there, so That would be something good to advertise for sure. I could check with him to see if he could chat about all things Portugal. I'm actually supposed to be in a meeting. I don't know if you all can hear it, but I'm a passive attendee for this meeting. So, any questions? You're welcome, Kingdom. I really appreciate your questions. Please keep them coming. Someone says they have meetings at 12 noon Atlanta. It's just 1 hour. So, are you guys suggesting that it's just like after 12 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock? Or again, I want to do it while I'm at my lunch, trying to take my lunch. And also, I think that would be a good time where most people take their lunch around noontime, if they can get away. I'm open to suggestions, of course. That's Atlanta time. Okay, yes. So 11 Central is 12 p.m. Standard Time, Atlanta time, right? If I'm not mistaken. Right, right. So where I am in Texas, we're in Central Time. Okay. Well, otherwise than that, today was all China, all things China. I really appreciate it. I'll take my lunch when you take your lunch. Okay, Callie. Okay, 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 okay. Fair enough. Can you talk about your digital nomad process? Absolutely. My brother and I built a community. So Grace123 was on here and she mentioned something so important. She said, build your community before you go to your country, your respective country. And that's so important. Will this video be visible on YouTube? Yes, I'm trying to upload, I'm trying to download it and it won't allow me to upload it on YouTube. So I'm working with Emma Mark to see if she could go ahead and do that. I don't know if I should just upload the raw footage or just bits and pieces of it. So I'm going to talk to her about that. But so far, I still have England to post. I have South Korea to post. I have Panama to post. I have Thailand to post, and now China. 5 countries will be posted on YouTube sometime this week. Also, for those who were here for Panama, we had a good 50 people on the live. That was a lot of people that day. He's going to come back to talk a little bit more about Colombia, guys. He was amazing. He had a really big audience and he's well known, and again, didn't charge me a dime. These people don't charge me a dime, guys. They're not asking for anything. They were like, sure, if it's something to help, the American people to get out and get a perspective of if this is a good country for them, then sure, I have an hour to give and talk about the country. I'm like, okay. Other content creators have asked for a ridiculous amount, like 175, 200. One even asked me 100, 250. And I find that I was like, what? 250 for okay. So this was really, really, really good. Again, if you don't follow him, Blake, please do. If you go to my profile, you will see where I created the banner. If you're still looking to know what his name or his handle is, I'm willing. You could find that there as well. And I will keep you all abreast about when my brother will be able to talk all things Portugal. Questions, concerns, feedback? Golden. Silence is golden, guys. All right. So otherwise than that, I hope everyone's doing well. But before I leave, put in the chat, yes or no. Someone says they live in Minnesota. Mark, look at that. Thank you for, thank you. I just need one more. Mississippi. Someone says getting back to my W-2. Girl, I got to file my taxes too, honey. Let me tell you, I got to get that done today. I hear people are getting their refunds really, really early too. Some of them are getting them in a matter of 3 days, 4 days. I mean, last year it took weeks, okay, I have to file my taxes. I gotta get to it. Otherwise than that, before you guys leave, what time right now? It's 12:26 my time. which is 1:26 Eastern Standard Time. So guys, before you leave, put in the chat, yes for Y for yes, N for no. How are you guys doing? Are you guys okay today? Is all I ask. Yes or no? I'm surviving. So put in the chat, Y for yes, you're okay. No, and if it's no, what can I do to help? Is it my smile that could probably brighten your day? Yes, these are my teeth. Yes, freezing. Okay, so you're good, but you're freezing. Okay, okay. Samantha says yes. Mark, are you okay? Uniquely, your products, are you okay? There's 10 people in the chat. I'm sure everyone could say yes or no. Oh, in that case, yes, I need, honey, I don't know how I can help you, Mark. You know, it would probably just be a smile. You doing fine, honey? Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Shannon, thank you so much for joining. All right. Thank you all for tapping. Thank you all who tried to help me, fulfill my goal today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, I'm just going to give you some stats. So we had over 927 viewers. We had 8 new followers and 10 gifters. And I met the 40% goal today live, meaning because of many followers, usually you have to be 40%. I know. Am I in California? No, I'm in Texas. Thank you. Thank you. Love my piece. Thank you. Thank you so much for the follow. All right, guys. For those who did miss, I will try to post some of the footage from China today. But if not, if you will find on my bio, hi, honey. In my bio, you'll see my YouTube channel where you could subscribe, and I will post all the raw footage, which is I've been on for about an hour and 42 minutes to be exact. So all of that information will be available. It's free. So again, if you have any questions surrounding China, please reach out to Blake. Okay. If you have specific questions surrounding Portugal, you can ask me, or you could wait until my brother who lives and eat and breathe in Portugal right now could come on and to talk about all things Portugal. Queen B, thank you so much. My name on YouTube, Lord, 40 years old. Sometimes I tend to forget that we have, that brain health starts to decline a little bit. I want to say it's Heaven Sent 40 is my name, but again, you can find that in my bio. I can't remember the name. I just started advertising. I have like 16 subscribers, but it's in my bio. Or you could just ping me and I could send it to you. What do I do for a living? I'm a software engineer. Any last questions? All right, guys. I love you. Thank you so much. Be kind to yourself. You signed your lease? Whoa, that's amazing. Guys, I also checked on my apartment. So Kevin, I don't disclose that anymore due to safety reasons. Yeah, I don't I've received some threats, and if I can't take Miss Shirley with me, although I have some self-defense in me, for safety reasons, I'm no longer disclosing when I will be moving there. But in terms of with all these storms that's been happening in Portugal right now, I had to check on the apartment because this month is the day I officially started paying my apartment in Portugal. And I reached out to my landlord to ask, hey, is the apartment good? And she's like, yes. So thanks be to God, my apartment is good. It survived the several storms. Yes. I will be safe. Thank you. Several storms, and there's more to come, right? But not with heavy winds, just downpours. So she did say there were some units in the same building that had some issues, some water and stuff like that. But it is crazy, and they will need access to my apartment in order to remedy some of those issues. I don't know, but I've been in contact with my landlord, and so far so good. I'm looking forward to meeting you too, Kevin. And so to go back, oh God, someone distracted me on this. Guys, it's so important to make friends. So my brother Mark, he's on here. He's my number one supporter. He's my number one cheerleader. Let me tell you, my brother Rudy, he's not my brother biologically, right? He was a person whom another content creator put me in contact with. And oftentimes I always say, God gives you signs when he wants you to do certain things. And I just so happened to be on this person's live, and he was in the chat saying, guys, put in the chat, what are your top 3? What are your top 5 countries, et cetera, and why? And he gave us his suggestion. His name is Shadow, Mr. Shadow, really good friend of mine. And I told him that I was looking into Portugal. I gave him other countries, but Portugal stood out. And immediately he typed, and Rudy, my brother, he came on and he says, of course, and he connected me with him. And that's just history. I know the wife, I know the kids, he's like, I'm his little sister, so forth and so on. And from that relationship transpired other relationships. And so I have people already saying, hey, I'm going to meet you at the airport. Hey, I'm going to be there to install security cameras, or I'm going to be there to help you set up furniture and things like that. And it's amazing to have somewhat of a community. Just my brother and his family knows where I'll be living exactly. My other sister, Monica. So it's important to build a community to where you're going to. So if you have plans to move to China, go on Facebook groups. They have really good resources for you to make, friends, meet different expats if you want to meet different expats, or you could just chill with the locals. That's what I plan on doing. And one, because I want to know the language a little bit more, because I feel like by listening to music, Portuguese music and other things, I will be able to grasp on some of those the language quicker and speak it faster. But it's so important to try to build that connection, build that community, build that friendship first, then going there. And this is where Grace 123 was saying, hey, that loneliness will hit you. You go to a country, you have no friends, no family, in the time, because of the time difference. I'm 5 hours ahead. If I'm living in Portugal and my family is Eastern Standard Time, they're asleep while I'm awake. So I really can't call them. So to have like a good community, I do not speak Portuguese. No, the closest thing you'll get is this. Bom dia, hola, bom dia, bom tarde, boa noite, por favor, sim, no. You'll know, I know bacalhau, because that's my favorite dish. And then francesinha, and then, these are foods that I'm listing now, but I just knew obrigada, obrigado. Well, for me, it would be obrigada. Things like that. That's it. Please, thank you. How you doing? Todo bem? Things like that I know. But as far as having this conversation, like, hey, how you doing? And this and that. Yeah, well, my son. That's going to be in English, honey. No, not in Portuguese. But I will learn Portuguese. I will make it my business to learn Portuguese. Just like I'm trying to teach my son Mandarin. Hell, I don't know Mandarin, but we're learning it together. Yeah, it's guys. It's so Queen Bee. I don't know if you could vouch on this, or thank God for Translate. Well, Ram, welcome in. You just missed China. We had a really, really good representative that came in. Language programs have helped me a lot in learning. Yes, and oh God, Ram, please. I've been so distracted with work and packing and getting things ready for my move. I forgot your list. I'm such a bad friend. Ram is also another person who I met here on TikTok, and he's part of my community. Guys, I have so many people who are part of my community. I can't wait. Talk about loneliness. There's no such thing as loneliness for me when I get to Portugal. I'm going to have so many people. Hey, Heaven, I'm coming by. Hey, Heaven, I'm coming by. Heaven, are you available today? So I'm just excited. I'm really, really excited. So it's so important to build your community before you go to your desired country. All right, guys. Weekends will be the bomb. Girlfriend, I can't wait to meet you, Queen. I can't wait. You're going in May, right? Oh, by the way, Queen, I just moved my date up going a week. So I just changed my ticket price, my dates from the dates that you and I talked about a week ahead. I know. So I have 3.5 weeks until I leave, and you should see my house. I still have my car. I have so much to do. So much to do. So learning a language is not a priority for me right now. Is trying to get this. I got a TV. I got TV stands. I got things I got to call. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh wow. I bought my one-way ticket a while back, but I changed it to reflect instead of moving at the last week of March, I'm going the week prior. Oh my gosh, congratulations for sure. You want to do round trip as opposed to one way? Oh no. Hmm. Exactly. I would have said the same thing. Like I was like, why? I don't want to come back so soon. Yeah, because you have two entries if I'm not mistaken. I gotta look at my visa again. So yeah, I'm leaving that entry because in the event I have an emergency, and because my visa is only good for 4 months, and the visa date, the AIMA date that I have is until December of this year. So I'm working with the attorney that you all know here, Emmanuel, to see if he could get me a sooner appointment. If not, then I will have to go somewhere like the Braga location where the volume is not too high as in Lisbon, which I have no problem going to. I'll message you. That's much better. Absolutely. I'll message you, Queen. I just don't want people to know exactly when I'm going, just for safety reasons. That's why I no longer disclose where I'm living, or even giving a region. Oh, really? You have the hookup with a lawyer in Lisbon or the Algarves. Oh, that's amazing. I'm hoping they could get me in a sooner appointment, like maybe a couple weeks after I arrive. But I will be going to Rome in the first week of April because that's Holy Week, and I want to go to Italy for Easter Sunday, and then I'll be back. Yep, I'll be back. All right, guys. I love you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for helping me reach my goal. Um, it's a lot of fun. Nice East. Oh yes, I will be going to Rome. My best friend, he lives there. He lives there. He's also a priest. It's good to have a best friend. Oh, you love me. I love you too, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, it's been a pleasure always. You guys keep me on my toes. You guys keep me honest. Thank you for that. You guys are amazing, and just keep being amazing. If no one has told you this today, I love you. You matter. And I can't wait. I can't wait to chat with you all again. You don't see, oh, it's because it's been filtered. I don't know why TikTok filtered his I love you comment. There you go. All right, guys. Love you guys. You matter. And I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.